Hey folks, Christina here. I wanted to take just a quick moment and walk you through the interactive chapter organizer. This is in both your physical business math textbook as well as the ebook. So you can launch the ebook from your Connect course. And what you're seeing on the screen here, this is actually page 57 of 804. And if you are using your e-textbook, you can just find page 57 in that way, which is your chapter organizer. Another way you can find the chapter organizer is using the table of contents, which is the More menu over at the top left of your screen. That More menu will allow you to open up your textbook table of contents, and you can search by chapter, by section of chapter, and so forth. You can also make place marks or bookmarks in your book if you need to, and you can also highlight information. So one thing I do want to make sure that everyone is doing in this class is make sure you're actually reading your textbook. I know reading a math textbook seems super strange. However, this book is set up in such a way that if you read and you practice through the problems as you go through each chapter, by the time you get to the chapter practices and the chapter assignments, you will have a familiarity. One of the biggest tips I can give you for business math is familiarity is your friend. Lots of times in classes, students will think, oh, no big deal. I can just go to the back of the book, take the test or take the chapter practices, and then I'm good to go. In my experience, that does not work well with business math. So with all of that being said, let's take a look at this interactive chapter organizer for chapter 5. Again, this is on page 57 of your ebook. And over, if you are working in your physical book, generally over on the right side of the paper, or excuse me, the right side of the ebook, you'll see a page number. So this is page 133. That means that's the page number in the physical book. So just keep that in mind as you're comparing ebook to physical book. The page numbers are different. Okay, so in this interactive chapter organizer, what we've got first of all is in this chapter, chapter 5, we talked about solving for the unknowns. And for many people, it is absolutely normal to not remember the algebra and the pre-algebra that you did back in school. That's okay. You have plenty of time to practice and to kind of bring this back into your brain. One thing that I do want to point out in this chapter organizer is this is my preferred way to study for the chapters after you've read them. So what it does is it gives you different little situations here. We've got situation number 1. If you have an equation, as in this example, d plus 10 equals 12, we always want to do to one side of the equal mark the same thing we do to the other side. So it's an equation, that means equal. So what we've got to do is get the variable or the letter on one side of the equal sign and all of the numbers on the other. And if you read your chapter, you'll remember that you always do the opposite to move your numbers to one side. So for example, in this equation, we have d plus 10. So to get rid of this 10, we need to subtract 10. So plus 10 minus 10, we all know equals nothing. So what that allows us to do is put that 10 on the other side of the equation. And you can see that they've got in the example, the 12 minus 10 equals 2. This is an easy equation. It was only one step to get us to d equals 2 for this example. And on your practices, when you get into your Connect, you'll see quite a few of these examples. In your chapter organizer, it always has some key points for you to remember. And here it references that opposite process again for you. Then you've got a chance to practice it on your own. So E plus 15 equals 14 is under our You Try It section. One big piece of advice that I will give you is get yourself a notebook get yourself some papers that you keep together and just write all of your practices in the notebook. There is something about actually writing things down on a piece of paper that makes it stick into your brain in a different way than just looking at it on the screen. So if I were doing this on my own, I would literally in my notebook write E plus 15. Well, there we go. I'm writing with a computer mouse. So there you all see. So E plus 15 equals 14. Now, based on what I learned over here and in my chapter, I know that I want to get my letters on one side and my numbers on another side. So I've got plus 15 on the left side of my equation. So I'm going to do minus 15 on this side, and then I'm going to do minus 15 on the other side. So what that gives me, I'm going to put my little equal sign in between there, plus 15 minus 15 gives me 0. So I only have an E left on this side. And then 14 minus 15, you all can do that in your head, is going to be 1. So let's take a look and see, what does our answer say? So what you can do is in your ebook, you can click the little answer sign. Oh, look at that. We have a negative sign. So you'll remember back to your positive, negative numbers. 14 minus 15 is going to give us a -1. So I did that on purpose just to show you all. Make sure that you slow down. Make sure that you really look at what are your numbers. This was not 15 minus 14. It was 14 minus 15. And so when we do that math, we come up with a -1. When you're doing your problems in your Connect, the practices, the assignments, and the homework, if you miss that positive negative sign, you will miss the problem. So always make sure that you take a look and see where your higher number is. Okay, so that's just one example from your chapter organizer. And like I said, I just wanted to take a quick moment to walk you through the benefits of using your chapter organizer to help you study. We'll be doing some virtual office hours a little bit more in this term based on some feedback from you all. So I would encourage you, read your chapter, get a notebook, make sure that you're actually writing your problems down and working them out. And once we get to those virtual office hours, if you've got questions, I'm happy to help you out with those. But definitely make sure that you take a look at your interactive chapter organizers. And like I said, each of these little samples in here will have an answer drop down that will show you how they came to the answer. All right, folks, that is it for this quick overview, and I will see you all in our next video.